You know, you see those, right, the promise a day or something like that. You know, these are really usually once a month you'll have one, or you'll do once. These kinds of things are ubiquitous around the turn of the year. I always wondered if there was a dentist's Bible. You know, there's like Bibles for every different vocation you can imagine. There's the military man's and the fireman's Bible and the construction worker's Bible, and there's all these Bibles. I always wondered if there was a dentist's Bible, and this was one of the promises that they would claim would be Amos 4:6. I gave you cleanness of teeth in all your cities. You know, what a great promise of God to engage in, right? Amos 4:6. What's the problem with this, though? Why would God promise cleanness of teeth? You know, does that make any sense? Well, if you read it in context, what you'll find out that this isn't a promise at all. It's a promise, but it's not a blessing. Let's put it that way. It's a promise, but it's not a blessing. It's actually a curse. You've got to say, what are you talking about? If I never had to go to the dentist again, that would be a blessing. Absolutely. Well, the curse is God is actually saying that there will be so little food to eat for you, Israel, that there won't even be enough to get stuck between your teeth. You will be starving for so long you'll have cleanness of teeth. So what I want to do is I want to look at a few of these scriptures that are probably very popular in the church, and I have to apologize ahead of time. Some of you may have these on your walls at home. I'm sorry, but I want to give you kind of a little bit of clarification to show how ubiquitous this is. How many of you have heard this quote? Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through him that strengthens me. How is this normally used? Anybody give a, what do you guys think? Where do you normally hear this? When you're having trouble. Encouragement to say what? Anybody use it on their kids? Oh, you can lift that bag. You can lift that bag. I can do all things, right? Hear this sometimes. Well, what is the context of Philippians 4:13? Have you ever asked that? What does it mean? See, it isn't a Superman promise. It's not, I can do anything, right? There's the magical incantation. I can become Harry Potter through Christ who strengthens me. No, that doesn't seem to make sense. So what is the actual context, the idea that Paul is trying to say? Well, let's see. Where do we start? It's actually a claim of contentment. In this chapter of Philippians, Paul is claiming that he's content in his situation. Now, what is his situation? Philippians is one of several epistles that were all written at the same time by the Apostle Paul. They're colloquially known as the prison epistles because he was under house arrest in Rome. So is this a good thing that Paul's under house arrest? Well, it depends on how you ask. I mean, it did give him time to write, which is always, it helps us, right? But he's saying, even though Paul would have rather been out on the road, that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to go out and preach. So if Paul was in prison and he could do all things, why couldn't he flee? Well, let's give it the context. And it says right here, I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now at length you have received your concern from me. You have revived your concern for me. So he's glad to hear that the Philippians are worried about him. That's nice, he says. You were indeed concerned for me, but you had no opportunity. Not that I am speaking of being in need. He goes, hey, it's a good mark of Christian compassion that you're worried about me, but I really don't worry too much. Not that I have any opportunity, speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. So what is he saying? He's saying, even though I'm in prison, I am content. I know how to be brought low. I can do the tough, the brutal time. And I know how to abound. I know how to live in abundance. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. So what's the context of this verse? What's he actually saying? He's saying that no matter my circumstance, my emotional well-being is just fine because I recognize and trust in Christ,
who strengthens me, that his plan will work out in the end. It isn't a, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. It is, I am content with the situation in which God has placed me, whether it be high, whether it be low. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. And all we had to do was not read the verse, but read the paragraph. And all of a sudden, we get a little bit better focus at what Philippians 4:13 means.